This year, at 28, I did something significant in my life. Yes, I decided to freeze my eggs. Actually, I had this plan since last year. And I also did some health checkups. At the beginning of this year, I took the time to implement this plan. Regarding egg freezing, it's essentially buying a regret pill for my future. Freezing my young eggs for now. So if I need to use them in the future, I can just use them. As for why I decided to freeze my eggs, one reason is that I'm currently going through a phase where my love life isn't going well. And I haven't met someone I can walk through life with. I don't want to make the wrong choice due to the anxiety of time. Secondly, I've seen older women around me wanting to have babies, only to find that there are few men available or their quality is poor, which means they not only have to spend more money, but also endure hardships. If conditions allow, I hope more girls will do this early. I will also share my journey later, so everyone can look forward to it.
In the comments of this video, I see several women interested in asking questions about the topic. I did some basic research on this market and noticed a huge growth, not only in China but worldwide. For you to have an idea, here in the West, there's a high demand for egg freezing, and in the future, this search is only expected to increase. To be honest, this graph made me curious and eager to research more about this issue. It could be a good investment for the future. What do you all think? Does the demand for egg freezing really tend to increase in the future?
I recently saw a particularly interesting phenomenon, which is that I unexpectedly came across an advertisement for buying female eggs in the men's restroom. Well, as for how I saw this advertisement in the men's restroom, that's not important. Let's discuss the event itself. Now, some people might want to ask me, why are they placing ads for buying female eggs in the men's restroom? Isn't that a wrong placement? Actually, from the perspective of the advertisement itself, this is not a wrong placement, but rather a precise placement. Why? If a guy sees this ad, he might say to his girlfriend, "Didn't you say you didn't have money to buy me a birthday gift? I just saw that our restroom has an ad for buying eggs. If you sell your eggs, won't you have money to buy me a gift?" Actually, this example is a typical exploitation under two inequalities. Then someone might ask, what are these two inequalities? The first is that our world is still in a stage of class inequality. The second refers to the fact that our world is still in a stage of gender inequality. As long as these two conditions exist, both egg selling and the sex industry will inevitably evolve into the exploitation of women. Many people are now online promoting body freedom, thinking that my body is mine and that what I do with whomever is my own business. So I want to ask these people, if you look at many girls who are exposing themselves, isn't it just one group that is exposing themselves? They can force many girls to become prostitutes. Do you think your influence is that strong? Can you compete with this capitalism? Well, besides these girls, there are many men promoting sexual freedom, which means encouraging everyone to engage in prostitution. Actually, for men, encouraging sexual freedom is fundamentally about achieving the freedom to pay for sex. It's just driven by their lower bodies. We're not going to discuss this. So, the reason our country opposes the legalization of prostitution is that once this door is opened, it will inevitably lead to the exploitation and oppression of women. At that point, it won't be about women's rights or the so-called freedom to dispose of one's own body, but it will give rise to issues like human trafficking, organized crime, especially the exploitation of women, among many other problems. So many girls, many feminists, please don't use this so-called freedom to make slogans, okay? Is the commercialization of women an inevitability? Who made women have a uterus? Having a child costs $750,000, and wanting to select the gender adds another $200,000. When our bodies are sold at a fixed price, it means we can only become objects of exploitation. Have you all seen the news about the underground surrogacy laboratory in Qingdao? Among the operating doctors, some are deputy directors of promotion centers, and some are working directly without a license. They earn so much money. But how much do they pay the surrogate mothers and the women selling their eggs? To this tree. That's right. This tree. How do I know this? Of course, I know. I have a lot of authority to speak on this. When you see a cockroach crawling on the floor, there must be thousands of cockroaches behind it. These things have finally come to light. Now I want to talk about something that happened to me in 2019. Here's the story. In November 2019, I saw a suspicious job posting from a stranger in my friend circle. I commented, "Is it selling yourself?" He replied, "It's just as you think." I was very angry, also worried and scared. So I shared it in my own friend circle, because I have many younger girls on my list, and I was afraid they might fall for similar information. Surrogacy and egg donation can have a huge impact on women's health, and even threaten their lives. When that person saw I shared it in my friend circle, he immediately private messaged me, asking me to delete it. I was very angry, and had a bit of a battle with him, so I reported him. But, the report didn't succeed. He reported me back, saying I was harassing him. As a result, the report was successful. I immediately made a police call, then went to a nearby police station to give a statement. However, there were some unpleasant moments during the statement process. Well, in the end, it might have been difficult to gather evidence. So the matter just fizzled out. You might say that was just something that happened many years ago. But I want to tell you that even today I still see a lot of similar information, like in the hospital's restroom, and in many part-time job groups. This type of information can be found. The reason our country prohibits surrogacy is to protect women's safety. The harm it causes us is really too great, even threatening lives. I hope all women can firmly resist, and not let ourselves become commodities and toys that are openly priced under capitalism. No need to freeze eggs anymore. This is my second time freezing eggs in 6 months. This time, I froze 16 eggs, totaling 32. I can finally relax, because according to the doctor's calculations, in the future, I can at least have a healthy baby. Moreover, this time, I injected myself the whole way through. So, my single sisters, don't be afraid of going through the egg freezing process alone. It's an issue. After my last sharing, many sisters raised some questions. So today I want to talk about the most frequently asked questions regarding the first egg freezing. Also, some emotional considerations for the second egg freezing. I hope this helps you in front of the camera. First, does freezing eggs and frequently retrieving eggs have any harmful effects on the body? Let me share my own experience. During my first egg retrieval, I had no special reactions in my body. American doctors also said that egg retrieval has a very small impact on the body. And since the whole process was smooth, I was under anesthesia. So I woke up and it was done. The only difference was that the amount of my next menstruation was slightly more. However, after my second egg retrieval, a few days after my period, I felt some stabbing pain in my left breast. I suspected that the ovulation injection might have affected my body, causing some reaction in the mammary glands. Although I no longer feel anything now, I still made an appointment with the doctor for a checkup. If the doctor has any feedback, I will let you all know. Second, what is the minimum interval between 2 egg retrievals? If you ask an American doctor, they are really very straightforward. When I consulted about the second egg freezing, the doctor said, if you want, it can wait a month and come back. If you want, you can just wait a month and come back. I was really surprised at that time. Later, I told my mom about this, and she strongly opposed it, saying that freezing eggs once is equivalent to going through a postpartum recovery, that I must rest well and recover before going again, not to overexhaust my body in a short period. Indeed, the last time I retrieved 19 eggs, and I really needed to take a break to recover. So I decided to wait 4 months before doing the second time. As I shared before, prior to my last egg freezing, the doctor prescribed me some vitamin D, folic acid, and other basic nutrients. And I used the same supplements for the second time as well. In addition, I also added extra meals, supplemented with reducing agents, mainly to protect the ovaries, increase the number of follicles, and improve the quality of the follicles. Eggs are retrieved from the follicles that have developed and matured, so the quantity and quality of the follicles are crucial. Additionally, reducing type supplements also contain other ingredients, which can enhance the antioxidant effect. Taking 2 capsules a day also helps me restore my complexion. Then this time I retrieved 18 eggs, freezing 16, now totaling 32 eggs. And I really feel secure about it. Is it scary to inject myself alone without a partner? This time, it happened that I was on a business trip in Chicago. So, I completed the entire injection process alone in the hotel, doing the task of injecting twice every evening. At first, I was indeed worried that I might make a mistake in the injection. But I followed a tutorial video, and after 1 or 2 tries, I found it went smoothly. You don't necessarily need a man or a partner to complete this task. I just want to say that, actually, everyone doesn't need to think of egg freezing as something very complicated and scary. If you want to do it, go for it. It's a natural right. Life doesn't have a specific age for marriage, but you have to admit that reproduction has a suitable period, which is an irreversible physiological rule. At different stages of life, your roles also bring many responsibilities that you should have. Women in their 20s and 30s really need to consider things related to those responsibilities. At the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I thought that no matter what stage your relationship is in, I needed to give myself more freedom of choice. And then in March and April of this year, I was able to free up some time at work. So I decided to do this first. But in reality, when I started doing this, I found it was much more difficult than everyone imagined, because it requires artificial intervention based on the normal physiological cycle of women. In the early stages, you can do some tests in the country. And after that, on the first day of your menstrual cycle, you go to meet your doctor to do various tests. On the first day, you start injecting yourself in the abdomen. And then you need to go to the doctor regularly for monitoring, to do ultrasounds, to take medication. And in the last few days, you might need to take a couple more injections or something like that. Doing this in itself takes about 2 weeks. I'm not a mother yet. I'm just going through the egg freezing process. It really isn't easy. When I finished the contour surgery, I was super grateful to my mom. Haha, women are truly amazing. And in the end, the result was good. I froze 25 eggs. And I felt very happy. I feel like I can guarantee 2 or 3 kids. Ha 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 ha. If I want to. Of course I can use them. The purpose itself isn't that I have to necessarily use them. You no longer need to be forced to enter a relationship that you may not find valid. Or a somewhat forced relationship, due to the limitations of physiological age or fertility periods. In fact, now, working hard and making money, I feel that many of the things I do make the last relationship relatively purer. Reducing or distancing some material issues that you have to consider. Age brings some issues. Making the relationship simpler, where you only need to consider the feelings of 2 people. I still maintain this kind of respect for feelings. Or some of my own thoughts. Hello. Hello everyone. I'm Big Sister Mommy. Many phenomena can be explained through economics, including marriage, romance, family, and so on. But this is not the coldness brought about by extreme rationality, but rather, in a ruthless world, using rational thinking to bring about a warmth that can be grasped. Today, we're going to talk about explaining egg freezing through economics. What is the use of egg freezing for women? What are its editing costs and benefits? So, economics is not just a discipline. It's more of a way of thinking, allowing us to understand human society from a new perspective. In fact, economic thinking is quite simple. It helps us make better and more rational choices, thus helping us live better. Have you noticed that on the internet, we often see many people arguing for different viewpoints, and each person adheres to different attitudes and opinions? In most issues, I believe everyone's attitude and opinion are valid. None of them are wrong. The main point is whether we can pay the price for our attitudes, or whether we can make equivalent efforts for our own values. This effort includes our time costs, personal experiences, and economic costs. So we can also see that economic thinking is very valuable. As long as we can place fair bets in the market, we shouldn't spend too much energy on trivial discussions. I don't know if you've heard an effectiveness, which is that market allocation efficiency far exceeds that of verbal arguments. Let's go back to whether we should freeze eggs. We need to reduce this kind of verbal allocation, as the efficiency is too low. Once we understand this economic thinking, we also know whether we should freeze eggs. Some believe that freezing eggs is good, while others think it's unnecessary. In fact, there's no problem with any viewpoint. All can be accepted. The only thing to consider is combining our personal cognition with our objective environment to make the most fitting and suitable decision for your values. At the same time, you should be willing to bear the costs of your values. If you ask me what my attitude towards egg freezing is, I can share two economic methods for your reference. The first is resource scarcity. Assuming that everything has cost constraints. As we age, our ovarian function declines. The number of eggs decreases. And their quality also worsens. So at this point, choosing to freeze eggs certainly means our editing costs are at their highest. Similarly, the younger you act, the lower your editing costs will be, allowing you to obtain more quality eggs. Which means that in the future, the chances and probabilities of having children will be the greatest. The second is cost-benefit analysis, which determines our decision-making model. Freezing eggs allows us women to free up more time to work hard for our future careers, education, and other personal goals. And it also prevents us from feeling pressured to enter marriage early due to the need for motherhood. There's no need to worry about declining fertility as we age. Therefore, the two economic methods above are sufficient to prove that egg freezing is very useful. To be honest, the gift I'll give to my two daughters for their future coming of age is egg freezing. In the end, I still want to say that egg freezing should really be done while young. The earlier, the better. Don't wait until after 30 to do it. I still have people around 35 or 40 coming to me asking if they can freeze eggs. At that point, I basically say, if you can freeze embryos, don't freeze eggs. Or if that's not possible, you really need to invest a lot of energy, time, and as we just discussed, money. These costs are extremely high, and the benefits may not be as expected. In fact, each of us has a smart economist living inside us. If you haven't discovered this yet, it means you haven't been unearthed.
In my opinion, this is a good escape for the problems that leftover women are facing. The main argument from Chinese men is that they cannot have children. As I mentioned in other videos, if a man has the freedom to choose, he usually opts for a younger woman. Egg freezing theoretically offers a temporary solution for some of them. However, I don't believe this will make a significant difference in the relationship market in China, as there are various other factors that drive men away from these women. I'd like to know your opinion. Do you think this is a good escape for one of the main problems these women face? Would you invest in an egg freezing clinic? If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.